When you think about moving to Florida, what's the number one thing you fear, other than hurricanes? Well, if it's alligators, you're not alone, but that isn't the number one overall dangerous animal in Florida. In fact, alligators are like squirrels here, and I'm going to show why that is toward the end of this video. And I'll also go over 6 of Florida's dangerous wild animals in order that you may encounter while living here. And if you have small children or pets, you don't want to miss this, because we're home to all kinds of things. And the alligator seems to be the common concern for those moving here. I've been asked by clients if I can find them a home far away from alligators. When I get that question, the answer is no, plain and simple. In Florida, we have alligators crossing roads, swimming in people's pools, climbing our fences, hanging out on the golf courses, and occasionally waiting outside our front doors. Yes, we've seen it all, but it is so rare, and I have yet to see any of those images in person in the 11 years that I've lived here, although I would love to, but it's so rare. And that's why I caught the news, and we're able to share the images with you today. People hear these stories, and that's what freaks them out, but don't let it. It's a 1 in 3.2 million chance you'll be bit by a gator, and today I'll tell you how you can make that percentage even better, so you don't encounter one, and if by chance you do, how to handle that situation. Because not all of the wild animals in Florida are you to run like if you come face to face. So by the end of this video, you'll at least know whether to run or not run. So stay tuned. That's coming up next. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Chandra Patterson. I'm a local realtor here in the Orlando area, and I love making videos to help you learn what it's like living, eating, sleeping, and playing in the Central Florida area. So if you want to learn everything there is to learn about the Orlando area, including alligators, then subscribe below and tap that little bell so you're notified when I post new videos weekly. Let's take our fascinating wildlife in Florida. Our wildlife is a little more interesting than other states, and we don't have to look far to find pretty birds, turtles, a variety of lizards, and adorable manatees. But not all of our animals are cute and cuddly. And today I'm going to cover 6 of those dangerous animals that we coexist with and share the do's and don'ts if you happen to come in contact with any of these. I'll mention them in order, and I'll tell you why alligators are like squirrels once I get to the alligator, because they're not number one. And you should not worry about moving to Florida because of alligators. Florida's most dangerous animal is the shark. In 2023, Florida had the most shark bites in the United States and the highest number of unprovoked shark attacks in the world. There were 16 in 2023. We're the shark capital of the world, but it doesn't stop people from living here. Why? If you're terrified of the sharks, you stay out of the ocean. But Livestrong.com said 91 million Americans over the age of 16 swim in oceans, lakes, and rivers each year. So when you add Florida's wildlife to this, there's a chance somebody will come face to face with a dangerous animal. But when it comes to people and wildlife encounters, it's 99.9% safe. Because you don't want to, they don't want to see you any more than you want to see them. But there's always the possibility that a human-animal interaction ends badly. So how do we avoid being bit? First of all, let me tell you on this. Florida ranks 3rd in the country with the most animal attacks on humans. Texas was number 1, then California, then Florida. The most deadly animal in North America is the brown bear, but thank goodness we don't have any of those. Then it was snakes, sharks, black bears, then alligators, and they all call Florida home. So there's things we can do to help avoid an animal attack once we do encounter them. But knowing whether to stay calm or fight back is key. So with each of these animals, there's a different protocol if you're facing an attack. So let's go over these in order from the most deadly. The first one actually was a tie between snakes and sharks. They tied for number one as causing the most deaths since 1970. In Florida, we have a lot of snakes, but only a handful are poisonous. We've only had 9 documented deaths since 1950 from rattlesnake bites in Florida. But they bite as a last resort, and their venom is rarely deadly. Actually, snakes usually bite people only if they're grabbed or stepped on. It's their only means of self-defense. So if you see a venomous snake in the woods or crossing the road, they don't pose a threat and they should be left alone. But that's rarely the case. People kill snakes all the time here. Snakes are passive and honestly, they're needed in Florida's ecosystem because they help reduce our rodent population. And the non-venomous snakes eat the venomous ones. So don't kill it. We'll just help maintain the balance. Quick story about rodents before I move on. About 2 years after we moved here, my husband went out to the shed in the backyard, but he was getting like lawn equipment or something out to get the yard work done. So as he started pulling things out, large rats started running out of there. Not sure if you can visualize that, but I've never heard my husband scream like a girl until that day. It scared the life out of me. I knew something had him, I just wasn't sure what it was. But just think about it. If you were to open your shed and a snake were there, the snake's gonna be just as scared of you as you are of it. That's probably just gonna look at you. At the worst, he'll let you know he's there, so he'll just hiss. So I don't know about you, but I prefer a snake than 10 rats running at me. My husband and I personally don't kill snakes. We actually yell for our boys to come outside and look. And the neighbors are all running for shovels. I personally enjoy watching them, and I think they're neat, but we've had them in our bushes, our garage, and even our pool a few times. So watch where you walk, watch where you grab, if you're hiking or even if you're working in your yard. I know we're the minority that don't kill snakes, but comment below and let me know if you leave them alone, or do you run for the shovel? Not judging, I'm just curious. So the second animal you may encounter that tied with the first most deadly are sharks. The Florida Museum at the University of Florida says the chance of being bit by a shark are very low. It's like 1 in 3.7 million chance. Florida has the most shark attacks worldwide each year though. In fact, New Smyrna Beach, which is only an hour from Orlando, is the shark capital of the world. So what do you do if you're scared of sharks? I'm not a fan, and I prefer to see my attacker before being chomped down on. So how do I prevent a shark attack? I stay out of the ocean. And this will be the same concept with the alligators that we'll be talking about soon. However, not everyone will avoid the water. So if you do decide to swim in the ocean and you see one, the goal is to be calm. Try to exit the water, but keep your eye on the shark. They aren't after people, they just want food, which is typically sea life, and if you're swimming and splashing around, they apparently can't tell the difference. But if something happens and it attacks, use whatever you can to hit the shark's eyes, nose, and gills. So put up a fight like your life depends on it, because it might. The next wild animal you may encounter in Florida is the Florida black bears. We have around 4,000 black bears living in Florida. And bear attacks occasionally occur, but a fatal bear attack has never been reported in Florida, thank goodness. But they are known to come around your house for food. So we have bear-proof trash cans to help keep them out so they don't keep coming back. Once you feed them, they're like stray cats. They're going to keep showing up. So let's say if you do encounter one, we never run. That can trigger their chase instinct, unless you can run over 35 miles an hour and maintain it long enough to escape, but that's not likely. And you obviously don't want to climb a tree or play dead with a black bear. The best bet would be bear spray, so be proactive so you aren't faced with an option to react. They want to avoid you as much as you want to avoid them. So stand still. If it sees you, you're to look really big. If there's more than one of you, just stand together. If you're alone, back away slowly, but don't yell. Just clap your hands together and it means to scare them. Why don't you yell? Have you ever yelled out of fear? It's like my husband. I mean, he could have been mistaken for a wild animal with the pitch he had. So, no high-pitched screaming. You may sound like you're something he's wanting after all. If he's close enough to attack, and he's going to attack, then you fight back. And you fight hard, aiming for his muzzle area. Bears are popular in the Ocala area, but they can be anywhere north of Orlando. You don't have to go as far as Ocala to see them. When we moved here from Illinois, we brought our camper with us. We loved camping, but the first time we camped at Waikeba Springs, we saw signs everywhere about bears. That did us in. I mean, I've seen enough on TV to know being chased by a bear was not something that was on my bucket list. So I wasn't taking any chances. We had dogs and we had kids to worry about. So we sold the camper. Now looking back, that was such a silly response. Florida's an amazing place to camp, but you don't know what you don't know. Maybe we'll get a camper again soon. Most people don't think of bears when they think of Florida. I know we didn't. They mostly live in the forest area, but occasionally they wander into human-occupied places. They're generally quiet, shy, and timid, and they're not wanting to be around humans, unless, of course, they want a White Claw from your fridge. Look up that video about the three-legged bear named Tripod, who actually broke into someone's screen enclosure and helped himself to the fridge and drank White Claw. But remember, bear attacks are very rare, but if they do attack, they're defending themselves, food, or their cubs. They're naturally active in the evening and early mornings, but that can change if there's food available. So they may become active during the day if it's garbage day or some other sort of human foods available. Number 4 is feral hogs or wild boars. Now these animals are smart and they can be very dangerous. Not only do they damage our agriculture, they've been responsible for violent attacks on people. They aren't on the list of being the most deadly, but something we do coexist with here. As of November 2023, Florida had over 1,200 reported wild hog incidents. Boars typically don't attack humans, especially if they aren't provoked. The attacks tend to occur when a person gets too close to a litter of baby pigs, or when a person's in the path of a boar that's running away from a threat. So they're very fast runners and they can cause serious injuries with their tusks. They can be found in all Florida counties, which is 67 counties, but most of the attacks are on hunters and wildlife trappers. But what do you do if you're approached by one? First of all, keep a respectful distance, back away slowly and quietly at the first sign. If it considers attacking, the best chance is climb a tree or any high ground. Another important thing, leave your dogs at home if you're planning to visit a nature area that has wild boars. If the dog was to bark, that may be enough to provoke an attack. So the females are extremely protective over their piglets, so never approach them. This isn't time for a selfie. It's not Wilbur, the cute little Charlotte's Web pig, and clearly it doesn't look close. They are so ugly. All right, on to the last one I want to mention before telling you why alligators are like squirrels. It's our coyotes. So obviously, coyotes are found in all 67 counties in Florida. They're naturally timid and they don't just approach people. However, they do hunt pets, especially cats and small dogs, and they'll enter residential areas in search of food. In fact, this video here is in a friend of mine's small neighborhood. You can see the coyote going through someone's side yard. Just imagine if your small pet was out alone. Most coyote attacks on pets occur either at night or in the early evening or morning hours, so please protect your pets. Don't allow them to roam freely, and keep your cats indoors. Free-roaming cats, they're at a very high risk of being preyed on by all of our wild animals here. And be extra careful if you're going to walk your pet in a wooded area. If you do happen to encounter one, these are animals you don't run from. For the same reason as a bear, it might trigger their predatory response. A healthy coyote is extremely unlikely to approach or even chase you, but please keep your pets safe. And last, we have our alligator. Here's a fun fact. Well, maybe it's not fun, but it is a fact. Most alligator-infested lakes in the United States are found right here in Central Florida. So instead of bird watching, you get to alligator watch here. Alligator attacks are rare, but they do happen. And how do I avoid a shark bite? I stay out of the ocean. If I want to avoid a gator bite, I stay out of the lakes. especially those that are marked or swampy and they're marked with the presence of alligators. Since 2022, there's been 4 fatalities in Florida. We have about 1.3 million alligators, so to coexist safely, you should only swim during the day and in designated areas. We have a lot of lakes here that you can swim, boat, tube, and just float in. But if it's marked, then you definitely want to avoid it, no matter what time of day it is or if someone's swimming in it. Some people just don't care around here. Alligators are actually scared of us. In fact, we have a gator that lives like around the corner from our house. And when we walk up, which is behind the fence, but once we approach the area to take a selfie, he's already in the water. All you see is the splash. I was kidding about the selfie. But I've tried to get a picture of him, and that's how timid he is. But if they feel endangered or they're protecting their nest, they're capable of attacking. Now, these images right here are not wise choices. You have no idea how each alligator views a human, and this one clearly didn't run, so standing as close as you can to take a picture wasn't one of their better choices. Alligators prefer to prey on things they can easily overpower. But sadly, that means most of the alligator attacks are on our small children and pets. We had an incident lately where an alligator went after a small dog and grabbed the 85-year-old lady instead, pulled her in the water and drowned her. It was a horrible story. But the people that lived around this lake never even knew an alligator lived in it. And it was huge. So you never know, and you treat every body of water as if there's an alligator lurking at you. You have to be aware and never let your guard down. If you watch the video here, you can see the alligator coming toward them like a ways back, but she didn't look around to see it. If you're walking along a lake, and especially with an animal, which I highly discourage you do, you have to be mindful and watching at all times. As the saying goes, if there's a puddle of water, there could be an alligator. It's really not a great idea at all to walk your animals around any lake, and God forbid don't let them swim in it. If you see a gator, we have a nuisance alligator hotline, and they'll come relocate it away from your home if you call them. So what if an alligator charges after you on land? Well, this is one of those animals that you do run like. They're quick and they can run up to 11 miles an hour, but they can't sustain it for long. So run and run straight. If something happens you don't have warning and it clamps down on you, a child or an animal, don't exhaust yourself trying to pry his jaws open. You're dealing with a bite force of 3,000 pounds. Save your energy, beat it in the snout, and try to gouge the eyes. They really don't like chaos. They want easy prey. But if fighting an alligator isn't on your bucket list, then stay away from their territory. Just like you stay away from the sharks. We've had alligators very close to us in both halls we've lived in, and we don't approach them and they don't approach us. Just respect their territory and don't give them bait. You should be good. Oh yes, I forgot to mention, white alligators are like squirrels. You guys have probably been waiting for that. It's because they're everywhere. Just like squirrels, neither are to be feared. Just respect it. So, with all that said, if I didn't scare you off and you're still interested in coexisting with alligators, I'd love to help you find a home here in the Central Florida area. But remember, alligators can be anywhere in Florida. No reason to fear them. If you're looking for a realtor in the Orlando area, give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. I'd love to help you with your move here. If you found this information helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It helps to get the channel out there to other people so they too can learn everything there is to know about Central Florida. And don't forget to leave in the comments, are you someone who leaves snakes alone? I'm really anxious to hear. My information is on the screen below and in the description. You may also be interested in this video. If so, I'll see you over there. Until next time, take care.